Alright, Doston, welcome back to Crypto Brain, and today we're looking at something that is starting to build serious attention across the market, and that is Rave, because what you're seeing right now is not just a random move. This is the early phase of what could potentially develop into a much larger expansion, and if you stay focused through this breakdown, you'll understand exactly why. So let's begin directly with the Ravdeo chart, because this is where the real story starts. Now, as you look at the structure, the first thing you'll notice is that price has been building a base, and this is extremely important because strong moves do not begin from hype, they begin from accumulation. And here you can clearly see that price is holding its levels relatively well, and more importantly, it is not collapsing under pressure, which immediately tells us that there is underlying support in the market. Now, at first glance, this might look slow and even slightly boring, but this is exactly how early stage moves develop, because as smart money does not enter aggressively at the top, it builds positions quietly while price remains stable, and this is where most traders lose patience and exit too early. Now, as we move forward on the chart, you'll begin to notice that price is gradually attempting to push higher, and although the movement is not explosive, yet there is a subtle shift happening in the behavior, because dips are being bought, and the structure is starting to stabilize. And this is your first early signal that momentum may be building beneath the surface. However, at this stage, we do not jump to conclusions, we wait for confirmation, and this is where we move into the next layer of analysis by looking at broader market through crypto bubbles, because this gives us context, and as you can see, when certain sectors or tokens begin showing relative strength compared to the rest of the market, it often indicates that capital is starting to rotate. And this is exactly how early trends begin, and if Rave is appearing stronger, while the overall market is still relatively neutral, then this becomes a very important signal, because it suggests that attention and liquidity may be slowly shifting towards it. Now, combining this with the current chart structure, we start to build a much clearer picture. If price continues to hold its base and gradually print higher lows, then the probability of a breakout increases significantly, and once breakout momentum enters the market, that is where moves tend to accelerate very quickly, because liquidity expands and more participants start entering. Now, another important detail to watch here is how price reacts near resistance, because this is where the market will either confirm strength or reject, and if we start to see clean breaks above resistor ends with strong follow-through, then that becomes your confirmation that the market is ready for the next phase. However, if price struggles and gets rejected repeatedly, then this simply means more accumulation time is needed before any major move takes place. And this is exactly why patience is critical in this phase. Now, as we transition towards the website, this is where we analyze perception, because as strong projects often build narrative before price fully reacts. And as you scroll through the Rave website, you can see that the branding is clean, the presentate honest, structured, and overall it gives the impression of a project that is positioning itself seriously within the market, which adds a layer of confidence. But again, we don't rely on appearance alone, we combine it with price behavior. And now, as we come towards the final part of this breakdown and revisit the website, this acts as a confirmation layer, because at this point you have seen the structure, you have seen the market context, and you have seen the project positioning. And when all of these elements begin to align, that is when opportunities start forming. Conclusion here is very simple. Rave is currently in an early stage where accumulation and attention appear to be building. And if the structure continues to hold and resistance breaks with strength, then the probability of a larger move increases significantly. However, until that confirmation is fully visible, the smart approach is to stay patient and observe, because in trading it is not about chasing moves, it is about positioning yourself before they happen. And if you understand this, then you are already ahead of the majority of traders. And if you want more high-level non-noise analysis like this, make sure you subscribe to Crypto Brain, because here we focus purely on structure, behavior, and smart money concepts, and I will see you in the next breakdown.